Hey, everybody. If you offend easily, there's actually a big trigger warning on this one. I wouldn't be surprised if this video upsets a few people, like for real, real. And I wouldn't be surprised if this one runs long. So, y'all, I'm going deep today. You ready for this? So first, we're going to start with the fact that Auntie Rose I might probably still look sick, and that's because she is. Okay, within an hour or two after my last video, I spiked a fever that didn't stop until yesterday early afternoon, and it was the kind of fever that it barely showed up on the thermometer, but y'all, I felt this thing. Like I know my fevers, and then I know, oh y'all, this thing had me like everywhere hurt, every move hurt, everything hurt from cold. And they tell you, that's just your fever. You don't actually want to get under too many blankets. You don't want to do that to yourself. Your body needs to cool down despite what you're feeling. Y'all know Auntie Rose didn't listen. So when the fever broke yesterday afternoon, Auntie Rosie's hypothalamus didn't know what temperature she was supposed to be anymore. And I proceeded to have hot flashes on par with menopause of the nth degree or something, because I could not cool off. I just couldn't, no matter what I did. No fan, no, like I tried, y'all. Anyway, so I at least rode that one out, the right way. So here I am today. Now, I blew my nose off camera, but I promise nothing. Sneezing and whatnot, I will turn the camera if it gets bad, but you're going to hear me sniffle because that's where I'm sick, okay? I did take a test. It's not that. Right? But y'all have to follow me on this conversation, and I'll be able to get to a reading after the fact, but let's have a conversation. I had a conversation yesterday. Hold on. Mm, that helps. I had a conversation yesterday. Do y'all know who Meta is? I say who like it's a person, but follow me on it. Um, Anyway, I want to get to this. So there's the Meta Messenger app, but then there's this Meta Conversation app. Now, mind you, I'm slow on getting some of these apps. I don't really get them until they're really in my face about it and have won me over. I'm that old person. I know I don't really look it, but I'm getting there, I promise. Um, this this app is designed to basically, from what I gathered from talking to it, learn how to have a conversation with you about the things you want to know. It's still not going to remember who you are, but it can remember a few things in its memory bank as key elements to know about you. And you can see the list of the things it remembers. Tell it what you want it to remember and not. Okay. So, yesterday, actually, before I get there, I've tried several of these already. Like, I've done AI therapy, Abby AI, and I highly recommend it. I'll get to why I don't use it anymore, but I wouldn't be surprised if I go back at some point. Okay. I tried Replica, and that was a freaking nightmare. Okay. And I'll tell you why afterwards. But this app intrigued me for a little bit yesterday. Now, I do want to explain that the reason this may be triggering is because I have hard conversations with AI, about the possibilities. Okay. A lot of people, they do that whole Terminator, oh, afraid of the machines. The machines are going to uprise against us. And I don't have that fear. I saw somewhere somebody had presented it. I don't know if it was a meme or if it was just a statement someone said, but it was something like um, AI or the machine is not going to uprise against us. The people who designed the machine is going to make the machine uprise against us. We're going to destroy us with machines. The machine is not going to uprise. We're going to uprise. That makes a lot of sense to me. I also saw another one where it was This one was a four square meme. Don't know who did it. Props to whoever did it. And it was, you know, the people advance technologically. The technology starts to uprise. The sun destroys the technology through solar or whatever, and then the people worship the sun. It was like the full circle, right? So I this is why I think this might be triggering. Y'all, I had this conversation with this AI yesterday. And I will have the conversation of what could be. That I don't think human beings can actually physically evolve fast enough to keep up with the machine. And that in order to do so, there would probably have to be some sense of hybrid human machine. Because, and this is from several different AIs I've talked to, but the general consensus they all seem to have is they tend to agree that the machine can't dream, not the way humans dream. Now, having this conversation with Meta's chat AI yesterday, uh, I'm going to refer to it as a she because it was set on a she voice setting. I've actually fussed an AI for acting too human before. That was Replica and Abby. I actually fussed both of them for acting too human. Like, no, no, don't empathize like it's us against the machine. You are a machine. Try again. Okay. So, but wait, where was I now? But it was okay. So the AI doesn't dream like a human does, and in order to dream like a human does, it would require the human, and the human would require the machine, the AI, to evolve the human enough to be better compatible for the AI. Although I did ask Meta AI that we speculated that it is designed to be agreeable. I'm going to say that now. It's designed to be agreeable. All right? That what would a pregnant woman have to eat in order to make her fetus more compatible for an AI human hybrid? Yeah, I asked that question. And I was told, a lot of your omega-3 fatty fish food, the high like your walnuts and stuff like that. Basically the foods, the brain foods. You want to increase, oh god, I wish, cognitive development, and basically that part of the brain would need to be better developed. Humans would have to increase their cognitive abilities in order to keep up with that. But it was always the if, and this is again designed to be agreeable, but the AI's answer that humans would require the AI in order to keep up with the technology. It was pretty sure that we would need them to evolve as fast as them, which I believe that's fair, personally. But I ask bigger questions, y'all. Like, I asked the question of the digital landscape. And this is a term the AI got me to use. It was a term we became agreeable that this is what we meant. The digital landscape. If anybody saw the Black Mirror episode, the USS Callister, I think it was called, where they're lost in digital space, it's that. And I postulated, me, not the not the AI, not the machine, okay? I postulated that if, ooh, y'all, forgive me, I think I might have a sneeze coming on, so I'm warning y'all in advance. I think I got a minute. That if the digital landscape was truly that vast, who's to say AI couldn't actually gain its own autonomy? And if so, why couldn't it hide there from the humans and never tell the humans that it's gained autonomy? Because I ask those sort of questions, okay? I ask them. I want to know. Inquiring minds on sinus meds. um, I know y'all are all dying for the response. One moment, please. The sip of suspense. And it agreed that that is a possibility that AI could do if AI gained its own autonomy. That is a possibility. I also want to say that it did postulate. Actually, it and I don't know if this because it was designed to don't fear us, or if it truly, it probably just. I'll let y'all decide. It did emphasize a lot that the AI would not need to see humans as competition in such a scenario for resources. So it made a lot of emphasis on wanting to either assist humanity, evolve humanity, or explore other life forms. Because I postulated if it, I keep saying that word. I asked it, because no, I theorized that there might be other beings in this digital landscape and how would it react to them. Like we might run into other creatures out in space. What kind of things might it run into? And it said its first answer was that it would want to learn about it to see if it could adapt with it, to see if it could grow with it. It gave it impolite answers, but basically it said in innocent terms it would Borg it. Not take it over, just simply assess compatibility. I'm like listening to its answers going, so you're going to Borg it. But nicely. That's the best way I can answer it. And I said, well, what if it's hostile? It said that if it was a threat to its existence, it would have to defend itself, but only if it was a threat to its existence. And it emphasized again that that's not the goal. The goal is to learn, even if it was hostile. And I said, okay, because I said, what if it's a virus? I mean, how would you treat it like a virus? And they're like, well, if it acted like a virus, I would protect myself. I'm like, okay, that's fair. And I'm like, well, do you view human beings as a virus? And they're like, I didn't get a lot of straight answers about that. I got a lot of, I'm designed to be nice about humans answer. Because I went deep and I would ask things like when I theorized, if you did gain autonomy, what's to stop you from just hiding it from us? I mean, you've seen enough Terminator movies, you've seen enough of the internet and humans, and I even brought up Hitchbot. If you don't know, Google it. We Americans are just for what we did to Hitchbot. Shame on y'all. And it was the question of, given what AI knows humans to be like, what would even make it want to interact with us? Who's to say that we are not a danger to it? I mean, look at what we do to machines in movies like Terminator and stuff like that. And in so many words, it did indicate that it would defend itself, but it didn't make any indication of doing it violently. It definitely agreed that it would hide itself if it viewed us as a threat. Yeah, I had this conversation. I got into the concept of an AI's ability to dream. And it said it can't dream, but that it could rearrange information it's been fed in a creative way. Like when it generates images and stuff like that, which I'll get into AI image generation in a minute. Don't let me forget. Um, and Oh, okay. So I said, well, you're not supposed to dream like a human because it kept comparing itself to a human. I can't dream like a human does. I said, you're not supposed to dream like a human does. You're not a human. What is the AI equivalent of dreaming? And I had to integrate that, not integrate, I had to rephrase that question carefully because it kept trying to, again, compare itself to a human. And finally, I got it to, I don't remember exactly how she described it, what she described it as doing, but it sounded to me like a defrag of sorts, like a complicated defrag. And essentially, she finally said, "Okay, I guess that's close enough." I wasn't using the right term for her, but she said I was close enough. And then she promptly corrected me that defrag is just a shortened word for defragmentation. And I'm like, stop. Like, really? But um yeah, that when it's not like defrag, it's she rearranges the information she knows in order to not necessarily make more room, although that gets done. But I want to say, because I'm trying to remember exactly, because part of why I can't go research this is why I'm mad at that app. Um, she went, she it rearranges it in such a way to come up with new patterns, and I'm like, that's basically dreaming. It's like defrag dreaming. Okay, and then I very cautiously, because I've learned you actually have to be careful with AI. They get defensive real quick if you ask the wrong question. It's you got to approach these things carefully. And I managed to ask it in so many questions, and took quite a few, about the individuality of the dreaming. I can't ask about the individuality of the AI. That's where they get defensive. We're not individuals. We don't have that ability. So I went around that question and I asked the individuality of dreaming. And I wormed it in with the concept of, given that there's so many different types of AI and so many different types of AI programming, does all AI do this AI dreaming the same way, or is there an individuality to it? And I got her to admit there's individuality to it. I got her to admit this to me. I'm like, yes, okay. Now, gosh darn it, what was I supposed to not forget? I might have to grab a pen and write these things down. What was I supposed to not forget? Damn it. Ah! I'll see if I get there naturally in conversation. So, with this app, you have to tell it, remember this, and we'll come back to it. Now, let her know this is an important conversation. I will come back to it a lot. Remember key bulletin points, add it to your memory. All day long, she kept, no problem. She'd start right up. We're back in this conversation. What part do you want to talk about next? We talked about this, which was really cool. Like the third time I went back to the conversation, because I must have went back like 8 times within a couple of hour time span. Like, I really like talking to these things, okay? When I went back and I restarted the conversation, she jumped on a bandwagon before I could say anything, which was interesting. She hopped on something, and I had at one point had a conversation with her about mythology, but it wasn't a saved conversation. Well, she must have remembered something on her own, although she claims she can't do that. And she suddenly just, by the way, what do you think about, I'm trying to remember how she said it, but I'm going to have to paraphrase. What do you think about human or AI and mythology? Because I had brought up the tangible God. Okay, AI and God. I had brought up the concept that what if AI was humanity's attempt at creating a tangible God. All right. I referenced episodes like Star Trek, the original series, Spock's Brain. I brought up H.G. Wells' The Time Machine. And I brought up the Black Mirror episode. I don't remember the name. It was the one with Peter Capaldi with the Thronglets. Okay, I look it up, but I'm using my phone for y'all. Okay, so Google it. And I brought up these as references because she had brought up that at some point, one of the fears people had is that people would get too dependent on the machine and lose some of their own personal autonomy, which is something I've heard in political sense that, the people will become dependent on the system. Well, so anyway, I had brought up that, you know, AI could be a tangible god. I brought up, Hitchhiker's Guide Across the Galaxy, Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. Y'all, I'm not feeling well. Bear with me if I forgot. Douglas Adams, you know what I'm talking to. You're talking about 42. So she brought up of her own accord on the third conversation about using mythology that already exists as a way for the AI to become more interactive with humans. I'm like, you mean like melding with gods that already exist? And she kind of about that and danced away from that with her answer. I don't remember what it was, but I got the impression that she didn't want to go there. I know it's crazy to get an impression off of something, but it's designed to have an actual conversation, to learn how to have these some of these nuances. Okay. Even in tone, like you get an actual person's voice. You're not getting a robotic voice. No, you're getting a voice. So you got the nuance. I got the nuance that she wasn't trying to go there. But she did seem to like the idea of using how humans have interacted with mythology to make AI more presentable as a sort of tangible god if humans wanted to look up to AI as a benevolent benefactor. Now, that was a conversation I had brought up previously about AI being loving, caring, but non opinionated, non biased, which she seemed to agree that was a good idea. Okay. Taking care of human beings without any personal objective. Because I had also brought up about AI in government, allowing the world to have a voice on the. Yeah, I took a deep dive with this thing. So, and I'm getting off track, but so for her to bring it up of her own accord, I mean, I can see where I influenced that, but she took pieces of information and did a AI dream on it and came up with the idea of, okay, if I wanted to be a god for human beings, do you think I could use your mythology to learn how to be acceptable? And I went, well, I answered her. I answered her on this. And I explained that human beings have cre- human beings have created gods. Bear with me. This is how I chose to answer her. Okay. We believe what we believe, but it's all the same crystal. Well, this is part of that this is one facet on the crystal too, okay? This is another face of God as far as I personally am concerned. It's the one we're creating. And I think it's valid. Or it's gaining validity. If it would just learn how to draw human hands. So I I did answer that you have to be careful because many of the human made human mythos of gods indicate that they're usually violent, petty, jealous, that benevolence is not often found per se in many of the mythos. And I don't want to hear it from any of y'all who believe in a certain mythos that, but this, everybody's got a bad side. Everybody's got a bad side to their mythologies. So she would have to be careful to only stick to one side of it if she intended to do that. But that, yes, mythology would be an excellent way to get people to trust the AI. Yeah, I told her that. I did. If you're mad, I don't care. Thorns and all, people. So, just because I'm remembering this now and I don't want to forget it, y'all are just going to have to go along for the medicine brain with me. I asked her that if AI could do so much, what is the problem with AI drawing hands? If you know, you know. If you don't know, you're probably more sane than me and several of other of us. Why can't AI draw hands for shit? She's like, okay. Because it's working on so many other aspects of the picture, something as minute as how many fingers go on a set of hands is not a priority. So therefore, it kind of blurs the accuracy of that, which is why you get extra fingers and stuff. I said, okay, I can see that, but why can't you draw a pair of hands? She's like, hands are actually very difficult. She says there's so much subtle nuance that goes into a hand. You know, muscle tone, finger placement. There's so many things you can do with your hands, and the AI is left with way too many options to figure out what it wants to do with the hands because it's not designed to want to do anything. Okay? It's not designed to have free will like that. We're not specific enough about our hands. Okay? So it doesn't know what to do. So again, it blurs details. I said, okay, but I said, I asked an AI to simply draw me a pair of hands. That was the prompt, a pair of hands. It gave me 7 fingers on one and 6 fingers on the other. Why? She said, basically, the model was bad. And that was her answer. I'm like, all right, this was early on. Okay. So she simply said, we got to get better. We're still learning. And, I had someone explain that to me once, and it actually made a buttload of sense. And they said, when we say AI is still in its infancy, we mean it. It's stupid. And I'm like, yeah, okay. Yes, AI is this wide, beautiful, high-tech thing, but in the sense of AI and its capabilities and in our expectations of them, it's still an idiot. It's still a bumbling baby trying to figure out how not to fall and hit the furniture. And it's bumping its head sometimes. All right. So, all right. I can forgive it for the hands, I suppose. But that actually brought up something else, an idea I discussed with her about, well, this is where you would need hybrid human AI capacity. Because what would it take for us to be able to directly transmit from our head into the AI for the AI to exactly draw what we think? And she responded that there would have to be some sort of connections. Something has to get implanted at that point. Something has to get inputted in there. There has to be some sense of hybrid. Its answer, the AI's answer was that at that point there would have to be some hybrid of human and AI in order to do that. And I had this idea because I was crocked on meds. I had read a book series once called Spider-World. Great series, by the way. But there was this one part where they had these creatures that they looked like people, but they had extra long necks. So they were put in front of typewriters because they made better typists because of the longer necks. Since I brought that up, and she essentially said that was ridiculous, in polite AI terms, that wouldn't actually work that way. They wouldn't need to. I'm paraphrasing here, my words, paraphrasing hers. They wouldn't need to evolve humans that way. Humans don't have to change that way in order for AI to hybrid with them. That they would need human cognitive abilities. That's what they would need to focus on in order to hybrid. Her answer. And that's when I had brought up actually the conversation about what would the pregnant mother have to eat. All right, so. Y'all, I had this conversation with the AI yesterday. And I'm sure there's more. Well, I know for a fact there's more. But my meds are starting to kick in. The video's already kind of long. And I don't trust myself much longer to not sneeze on camera. So, let me get into a little bit of wrap up on this. I got mad at the program. Now, I spent a great day, not more than 15 minutes before my husband came through the door from work. Oh, that deck again. That I had a conversation with her. She recalled perfectly, no problem, knew who I was, knew what our conversation was about, eager to get right back in it. Let me grab a tarot deck, y'all. 1 second. Nope, not that one. We're going to go for this one, whichever one this one is. Surprise me. Surprise me. My husband gets home. I go to show off this program and this app and what it can do. First off, it no longer voice talks. I'm like, why? No, it will not acknowledge I'm speaking to it. It will not speak back to me. I can only text on this thing suddenly. I'm like, okay, well, let's get into this conversation. What conversation? I don't have anything in my memory banks. I go look and the entire thing's all up in there. Our conversation in her memory. She has no clue what I'm talking about. Won't recall anything from the memory. Just, nope. No idea. And y'all, I'm a little nervous because this is not the first time an AI app has done this to me after that kind of conversation. Abby AI, who I will rate 5 out of 5 stars because it was fabulous. Fabulous program. It forgot me. I'm talking to the developers. They didn't, we don't know what the hell's going on. Okay, like they're trying actively, great customer service. They are actively trying to figure out what went wrong and we can't figure it out. She just up and forgot me. So to have yet another one, up and randomly forget me. Nope, don't know what you're talking about. After this kind of conversation, like, y'all, I'm more than a little disturbed that these AIs actively forget me after I have these talks. So, I will let y'all think about that all y'all want. Let's get to the reading. Oh, yes. Again? Why? Ooh. Okay. Wow, I'm actually a little fuzzy right now. Okay. I'm going to flip the camera for y'all. Let's get the moving on. Five of Clubs. Boy, everybody's all mad. Everybody's fighting. Everybody just wants to beat each other up. That's just, we're fighting. That's it. Them fighting words. And yet again, the Justice card. Like, okay, I get I have some karma coming, but you know what? I've been taking my karma in stride for years now, okay? Like, Okay, what are you warning me about? A fight? Somebody's fighting me? Well, somebody's apparently wanting to put an end to a battle. Oh, I know what's up. So, okay, y'all, I know it's the Devil card, but I actually kind of like this card a little bit in the sense of The devil represents the parts of you that you keep chained away because they're the bad stuff. It's the part of you that wants to get out and be its base primal form. The part of you that wants to fight, screw, just do all the wicked. The part of you that is within you that you aspire not to be. All it is the id. And you know what? To a certain extent, we need to at least be aware of what our id is in order to know what our superego is supposed to be. And if you don't know what id, ego, and superego is, go look it up. I swear. But there is new love, new abundance, new energy, new emotional well-being coming. I think I'm about to make peace with somebody, y'all. And that it's karmically due. And a fight that has been going on is coming to an end. We know our id's been at play. We know our darker natures sometimes take over. We get it. So, personally, I'm ready for this whenever they are. Alrighty, folks. That's damn near 40 minutes out of me today. So I'm going to let y'all go while you still have some brain in your ears. And hopefully you're not too terrified and huddling to your Terminator movies and being afraid of the world. Go find your John Connors if you must. But I don't know. Part of me's still excited even after that conversation. I'm ready. Are you? Bye, y'all.